Back again, and this is your fantasy focus for game week 28. This is where I break down the most likely players to deliver in front of goal, transfers worth considering, clean sheet prospects, and of course, the best captaincy picks for the game week. Let's get into it. Alright, so as always, starting off with goal involvement odds, and Haaland is top of this list, unsurprisingly. Coming off an assist in game week 27 against Newcastle, that's now 3 returns in 3, and he now faces Leeds away. Despite their upturn in form, they still have an expected goals conceded of 1.5 per game, so Haaland's 66% chance of scoring or assisting this game week is very good, and as always, you're going to expect to see him come away with something for this game week. His predicted points for the next 5 are 27.8, so it's not bad considering he's blanking in game week 31, so he's therefore only playing 4 games. The most featured team this week is United. They face Palace at Old Trafford, who just came away with a clean sheet last time out against Wolves. Bruno Fernandes is the highest on the list with a 54% chance of a goal involvement in game week 28. He's actually got 2 blanks in a row now after his successive 10 pointers in game weeks 24 and 25. He could be potentially a captaincy shout given he's at home, but more on that later. Other United players making the list are Sesko, who's got 52%, and Mbermo, who's 51%. Both returned last time out versus Everton, where United won 1-0 on the Monday evening kickoff. Although if you look at the predicted points for the next 5 for Sesko, Fantasy Football Hub don't expect Sesko to continue his returns over the next 5. He's only got 6.5 points predicted. And if you're interested, Kunya and Ahmad are 43% and 37% expected to get a goal involvement in game week 28. Then back to the top of the list, you've also got Salah. He faces West Ham at Anfield, but he was subbed early last weekend, only amassing 0.23 expected goal involvement versus Forest, 64% chance of scoring or assisting in game week 28. Worth mentioning, as always, is the team that's playing Burnley, and that goes to Brentford this week. They've got Thiago, who's as high as 61% chance of returning, and then they've also got Sharda, who's 50%, and he makes the list, and Danigo doesn't make the list, but he's 43% expected to get a return against Burnley. I'm hoping that he returns, as I've now brought him in as of Sunday night. Alright, so let's move on to transfers in for game week 28 and see what managers are thinking ahead of the deadline. Alright, so top of the list we've got O'Reilly. Obviously he scored 2 goals against Newcastle and got another goal in the game week previous to that. So it's no surprise to me to see him top of this list. His heat map against Newcastle showed him playing predominantly wide left with the ability to move in centrally like he did for his 2 goals. So if he continues to play in that position, in and around that position, then yeah, I mean, over 300,000 managers are going to expect to see a lot more returns from O'Reilly. For me though, I would definitely want to bring him in if he wasn't blanking in game week 31. I've got enough players who already are blanking, so to bring in another player to blank, it wouldn't make sense for me. It is going to tough for me to watch him play because he's playing Leeds, Forest and West Ham in his next 3 before the blank, so he could definitely get returns if he continues to play in those positions. Then there's no surprise to see Liverpool players are the most transferred in players in this game week. Virgil van Dijk, over 257,000 managers have transferred him in after 2 successive weeks getting double-digit hauls. Liverpool have a fixture run of West Ham, Wolves, Fulham in the next 5, along with Tottenham at home and Brighton away as well. And importantly, they don't blank in game week 31. So yeah, Virgil van Dijk, Szoboszlai and Ekitike are definitely the 3 players that I would consider the most. Of course there is Wirtz as well, but we're not sure about his injury. He would probably for me be a better pick than Szoboszlai if he's declared fit, but it does leave you doubting whether he starts versus West Ham this game week. As mentioned, Thiago has Burnley next, so it's no surprise to me to see that 118,000 managers have transferred him in. And finally you've got James Hill. He's sort of a surprise addition to FPL at the moment. Not many people expected to see him play many games, but here he is, 4 million, now gone up to 4.1 million after many transfers in this game week. He's a cheap enabler and he's returned in his last 5 games for a total of 35 points, which is crazy value for just 4.1 million. And then also he's got great fixtures up to game week 31 before the potential wildcard in game week 32 where he plays Arsenal away. So game week 32, if you're wildcarding, you can just move him on after that. So yeah, if you want a cheap enabler in defence to get a more expensive player maybe elsewhere, then yeah, James Hill is the man to go for. Alright, so a quick look at transfers out for game week 28, and I'm not surprised to see Enzo at the top of this list, along with Chalobah, to be honest, because Chelsea's fixture run is terrible. They've got Arsenal away next, then they play Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home, Everton away, and then Man City at home in game week 32. So yeah, terrible run of fixtures. Enzo's blanked in his last 3 game weeks, so there's going to be frustration from that. Then his fixtures get really bad anyway. So yeah, can definitely see why he's been transferred out. I've transferred him out, moved him on for Dango. So yeah, I agree with that one. Then you got Cucurella and Bruno G. Cucurella's out with a hamstring injury, and Bruno's expected return is 11th of April. So yeah, definite sells there. And for me, the surprises on this list are Timber and Wirtz. Slot has actually said that he expects Wirtz to be available for West Ham. So with that and the fixture run that Liverpool have, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be selling him just yet. I'll definitely wait to hear some more news closer to the deadline before making that transfer out. And for me, Timber, yeah, he's been a little bit frustrating. I can see a lot of managers probably moving from Timber to Van Dijk after Van Dijk's hauls. But for me, Arsenal are still the best team defensively in the league. Clean sheets are still going to come from now until the end of the season. So I'm definitely staying with the double up 100%. And right now I've got the triple up. So I'll probably stay with that unless anything changes drastically with Arsenal's defense. So for me, whilst I get it, because of the frustrations with Timber, I still think he's going to play a lot of games. I still think he's going to be one of the number 1 picks for Arteta in that defense alongside Gabriel. This one seems a little bit like a luxury transfer to me. He is blanking in game week 31, but there could be clean sheets on the horizon over the next 4 game weeks. Alright, looking at game week 28 clean sheet odds, and Liverpool top the list. They've got a 38% chance of a clean sheet where they face West Ham at Anfield. West Ham failed to score at home to Bournemouth. Van Dijk managed to get a clean sheet away at Forest. I've now transferred Van Dijk in after I transferred out Munoz on Sunday night. Arsenal are second with 36%. They face Chelsea at home. If it's anything like the League Cup semi-final, a clean sheet could be likely, especially given Chelsea only managed 1 goal versus Burnley, drawing 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. Other notable mentions are players from Bournemouth. They got a 35% chance of keeping a clean sheet at home to Sunderland. Senesi and Hill are the players that you should be playing if you've got them in your team. And then finally, Man United, 35% chance of keeping a clean sheet at home to Palace. Palace are struggling to score goals. They just about beat Wolves, who had 10 men for most of the second half, and we only managed a last minute goal. Didn't really create too much in that second half. So Man United are looking a lot more solid. They got a 1-0 win away at Everton, which isn't an easy task. So 35% chance of keeping a clean sheet against Palace. If you've got any Man United defenders in your team, I would definitely be playing them against Palace this week. Now finally, looking at game week 28 captaincy picks, we've got Salah. He's top of the list with an expected 6.9 points, but the top 4 are only separated by 0.5 points. So it's take your pick this week, with any of Salah, Haaland, Ekitike and Thiago being great options for captaincy. And then of course you've got Bruno with 6.2 expected points this game week. I expect to see a fairly split captaincy choice this week. This could be a very interesting game week with many different captains being chosen. And that wraps up your fantasy focus for game week 28. Goal threats, clean sheets and captaincies all covered. If this helped, drop a like, and if you're new, subscribe for next week's breakdown, and team selection will be uploaded before the deadline. If you missed transfer targets for game week 28, that should be popping up now. Let me know your team's shaping up in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're planning. Good luck this week, green arrows only, and enjoy the football.